Hello, Craig Birch here at Bar Sport in Cannock, where I have here the former undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Ken Buchanan. Ken, welcome to Cannock. How was your journey down here from Scotland? Everything okay? You've seen the good, the bad and the ugly of the weather, I suppose. So.
We're so used to this weather, like, you know, it doesn't bother us.
Yeah, yeah. And this is your first time to Cannock, it's your first time to Bar Sport, I believe, is it? Or have you been here before?
It's the first time.
Yeah, okay. And you brought your Hall of Fame ring, I believe, here tonight as well, haven't you? So.
I've got it.
Yeah, your man over here's got it pretty much, isn't it? But yeah, just go on. I'm going to show it for the viewers. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It was a show off. We can't see it from there. Bit further up. Into there. Hey, there we got it. That's that for anybody who is an international Hall of Fame ring. That Kenny's showing off from 1971, which was a big year for you, Ken, wasn't it? So,
yeah, very big.
So let's talk about for you. You were the fighting carpenter, wasn't you? I presume that's because you worked as a chippy when you wasn't boxing, wasn't it?
Yep.
So
when I was an amateur.
Yeah. When did you go full time?
When I was 1965.
Yeah.
No, 65. Yeah, around about 65.
Was that when you won the ABAs? I think the ABA championship that year.
Yeah, the British title. Yeah, amateur.
Yeah.
Then I went to Germany and I won a bronze medal in the European Championships. Yeah.
And from there on and on it went. You turned pro. Who did you turn pro with initially? Who was the top promoter?
The man I turned pro was Eddie Thomas. He was Welsh, and he had Howard Winston, who was the WBC world champion.
Yeah.
Way back in the early 70s.
Of course. And obviously, you know, your journey sort of came together very quickly. 1970, the chance came up to become a world champion, wasn't it? So talk us through how it came to pass that I think you've won British title, area title.
Yeah.
Was it very quickly just after that when you were offered the world title chance?
Well, the chance came up as Laguna had won the world title, and he wanted to fight someone, and so the manager were looking for a patsy, and they picked me because I had just lost that title fight to Miguel Velasquez in Spain, and
for the European title, wasn't
it? For the European title, and my manager said, "What do you think?" I said, "Yeah, well, let's go for it." So we went across to Panama, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we fought Duran there, like, you know, and 125 degrees of heat, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, obviously there was a backdrop of that, which was ridiculous heat, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. I mean, I came out and, you know, my left eye was completely closed and my right eye had closed about an hour later. So it was a hard fight. To me, he was next to Duran. He was the best fighter I ever fought in my life.
Mm-hmm. And how did you handle the heat so well as well? You know, you took a slacking. You could have been stopped on your feet or anything, couldn't you? But you somehow found a way through. I mean, what was that like to try and find that way through?
Well, I had trained hard for it, like, you know, and I trained for a couple of weeks in Puerto Rico, and I was training at the same time the fight was going to take place. So I got used to it, but not really, like, you know. I mean, at the end of the fight, I was absolutely knackered, you know, and it was a hard fight, like, you know. And Laguna, I mean, he was a lovely guy, you know. He says thanks very much and that, like, you know. But it was something I'll never forget, like, you know.
Of course. And obviously, you came home a hero's welcome. You were made an NBA, I think.
When I came home, there was only 3 people at the airport. There was my mum, my wife, and my son, who was born to my wife and me while I was away in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So when I left the house, there was only 1 person in the house. That was my wife. When I came back, there was 2. There was my son, like, you know.
Yeah.
So he's grown up. He's been brilliant, like, you know.
Yeah.
But that was it, really. I done what I wanted to do, like, you know, and be the world champion. But with him taking the I think it was the WBC title off him, they wanted me to go to Los Angeles and fight Ruben Navarro, which I said I'd do, and I beat Ruben and I retained the title.
Because you mentioned a little bit of background that the WBA had actually stripped or refused to recognise Laguna just a few days before the fight, wasn't it? So
yeah, a few days before the fight, they says that he was getting stripped. He's been stripped of the title, and you know, you're fighting now just for the one title, the WBA. And I said, well, that doesn't matter. Like, you know, we never come here to enjoy ourselves. We came here to fight.
Yeah, yeah. Was it a bit of I mean, obviously, you could have been the undisputed world champion at the end of winning your first world title. Was it a big blow to yourself that you came back and, you know, you were the only world champion, but that belt still was sort of lagging? Was that something that bothered you a great deal, or were you just
not too much? And but things like that didn't bother me. I just put them onto my manager, and he dealt with them, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I just looked after myself, like, you know.
Of course. And then obviously the Navarro fight comes up. Chance to claim that WBC title, defence of your WBA. Los Angeles, were you bothered about going to Los Angeles, or?
No, it didn't bother me at all, like, you know. As long as I was getting a square deal, like, you know, and I was quite happy, like, you know. And I boxed him there in Los Angeles, and I beat him well in points, like, you know. And I became the undisputed world champion.
Yeah. And obviously, I believe around about that time you got the MBE as well.
Yeah.
I think you were Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year. 1971 was something the greatest year ever, really. So.
Brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I had like 2 successful defences and you know, and non-title fights and that, like, you know. So I mean, I was really very happy with myself, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, and obviously you were then stripped of the belts. Pedro Carrasco, I think, that fight was supposed to have taken place.
I never actually got stripped of anything, like, you know what I mean. I never got it said to me. I never got it in a letter. It's just something that happened, like, you know. I was out with the you know, whoever does the ratings and that, like, in the Ring magazine and the Boxing Illustrated and so forth. They were the ones that were putting it into the paper that the WBC have said now we don't recognise Buchanan.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to go over to Los Angeles, where the WBC is all created, and I had to fight. I fought from there, and I beat him, and that was it. I was actually going to fight Mando Ramos, but he had an accident about a week or so before the fight, and they pulled in Ruben Navarro. So it was a good fighter. He had a fair play to him, and he done run really well, like, you know.
But you say you beat him easy on points and so on. This Carrasco, why did that fight never happen? Was there a reason for it? I believe you mentioned it was. I believe you mentioned off camera a little bit earlier that he was a little bit heavy. Your Campbell-Wood is a little bit heavy. You said he boxed in the light welterweight division, and maybe not pleased about him coming down and getting this opportunity.
Well, I wasn't blaming him for it, like, you know what I mean, but. It was a wee bit unusual for a boy to get a title fight when he's fighting at a different weight for the actual weight itself. Like, you know, if you got 2 boys at 9 stone 9, then that's okay then. But he'd be fighting at like to 10 stone 4, 10 stone 5, and you know, he was winning fights, like, you know. So I mean, after all, like, you know, you just got to abide by the rules. Yeah.
Have you still got the WBC belt? I believe every champion gets a WBC belt for their own, don't they? So.
I got WBC belt, WBA belt, the
British title, I believe you held as well.
The British title, the Lonsdale belt, and the European belt, and
Scottish area as well.
And the Fighter of the Year award. I've got that belt as well.
Of course, you were a Scottish area champion as well, ABA champion. Have you still got all the medals there?
There was nothing really there. No, he didn't go Scottish. He didn't get anything. You know, he got a wage.
Well, you must have a pretty full trophy cabinet at home from all the things you've managed
fantastic.
Yeah, you've got the keys to the city, I believe, to Edinburgh now. For a big city like Edinburgh, what an honour, I guess.
I got that done in about 3 months ago. And it was a great night, and everybody enjoyed themselves. Had a great bloody night, like, you know. And it was the councillors and that, like, of Edinburgh, like, you know, who had come out of their shell for a wee kick-off, like, you know, and honoured me, like, greatly, like, you know. I got the freedom of the city, like, you know. And I says to the Lord Mayor, I says, does that mean that I can just go into any pub I want or any hotel and order a meal and no pay for it? He says, no, quite can't. It's not just quite like that, like, you know. I thought, we'll see what happens, like. But he's a lovely pal of mine, Donald. You know, he's a Lord Mayor of Edinburgh, like, you know.
And obviously, with yourself as well, the MBE. I know it was a long time ago, maybe hard to remember, but it must have been again a fantastic honour to be honoured in that way. You know, so only elite sports people get that, don't they?
It was the Queen Mother you know, the older one, like, you know, that gave me, like, and down in London, like, and at the Palace, and it was wonderful, like, you know what I mean. And the thing was, the year before it, I had danced with our granddaughter, Princess Anne.
Oh, right, okay.
And we were asked at the dinner, the big dinner. There was a couple of thousand people there, like, you know, big dinner suited everybody. And Princess Anne came in, and it was just basically to accept her award.
Yeah.
And what have you, like, you know what I mean?
Was this a civic function then, was it? Or
it was a big civic function, it was, like, no, but it was a nighttime one where it was eating and basically a lot of people talking.
Was that something to do with boxing, or was it just a civic event you were invited to, or something like that?
No, that was a civic event.
Yeah.
You know, well, when you had the Queen there, like, you know, who was what was the Queen Mother actually, who was there presenting the medals and the things that I got, like, you know, for it, like, you know.
Yeah.
Which I still have them all, like, you know.
Brilliant, such fantastic achievements. But obviously, I mean, people will ask, you know, what became of the Undisputed World Champion? You lost those belts to Roberto Duran 1972 in the most bizarre of fashions, wasn't it? At the end of the 13th.
I know.
Fight, you know, punches were traded after the bell. Talk us through your version of what happened there.
Well, in boxing, you're guided by the bell. And when the bell goes, it's either to come out and box or it's to go back to your corner. Well, when that bell went, I dropped my hands and I was just turning to move away. And Roberto, he committed himself. He had himself committed. But the thing was, he took it so low. It was about 6 inches. His hand was about 6 inches off the floor, and it came up and it hit me in between the legs.
Goodness
and
me.
I ended up in the hospital for 10 days because I was urinating blood, like, you know.
Oh, my goodness.
They had to sew me up and what have you, like, you know. And people really didn't realise what I actually went through, like, you know.
That must have been absolutely hideous as well. To lose your world title in those circumstances as well.
I know.
You must also be of the opinion as well that the referee was right, you couldn't continue.
Yeah.
But how on earth does Duran get awarded the contest?
I don't know. I don't know. I believe he was ahead in points, you know. So I mean,
so they went to the cards maybe and scored it from there, or
I don't think I would have won on the cards. I think I was getting beat, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, but other people would say differently, you know. But Roberto, he was a big puncher. He could hammer anybody. Never hurt me. I didn't even have a bleeding nose.
Yeah. And obviously, you must be absolutely. I bet you're still fuming today. You should have been disqualified for that, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I know he should, but I've forgot all about these things. And him and I have met up together again.
Yes,
like,
I believe it was.
And several times.
Yeah.
And when we get on great, the two of us get on great with each other. And he knows he made a mistake.
Has he ever admitted it to you?
Oh yeah, he's
that
done
privately,
it.
I imagine.
Through his interpreter, like, you know, because he doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
And doesn't speak Scottish either.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he talks through his interpreter, and he tells him he's I'm really, really sorry, like, you know what I mean. He said, but it was my manager that said, no, you're not fighting Buchanan again, like, you know. And he had it very strong with the border controls in America and that, like, you know. So I had nowhere to go, really, like, you know. I'd done everything, like, you know, and the rest was just a few more fights.
You did win a European title. You managed to put that one right, didn't you? You'd lost a fight for a European title beforehand. You put that right since then, didn't you? So.
I won the title.
Yeah, that must have been a bit of a boost, you know, having lost that fight before and so on. That must have been a good night for you.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. But again, that was in Spain. See, my fights were a lot. I had 71 professional fights. I only had something like 4 fights in Scotland.
Yeah.
All my other fights were in Puerto Rico, Los Angeles, South Africa, Japan, England, Scotland.
Yeah.
Got 3 or 4 fights.
Yeah.
So it was a great. I had a great time. I've had a great career. Yeah. I've enjoyed it, like, you know what I mean.
Of course.
So anyway.
Yeah. So you were the away fighter before being the away fighter. For anybody who knew what an away fighter was.
I was more like I was more like the contender coming into the ring rather than the champion.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Last question, because I know we've kept you a long time here, Ken. The Ken Buchanan Foundation going very well. Looking towards maybe getting you a statue in Edinburgh as well to go with that.
They're talking about it, and there's moves been put aside, and there's been money raised and so forth. Like, you know, so we're just waiting till things take shape a wee bit more, like, you know, before we do anything about it, like, you know. So and I've got like 3 lads that work with me, like, you know, and they're brilliant, like, you know.
Good.
So I mean, everything's going great.
Of course, excellent, fantastic. Ken, thanks so much for your time. You're Scotland's greatest ever boxer. We will see you again.